This was an interesting weekend. So Friday, for those of you with Netflix, Activision has just released its latest series, Skylanders Academy. I wanted to make a video about this, but only after I've seen all the episodes of its first season. At first glance, I was stoked than ever to see the show come to fruition, and I've always been wondering what they were going to do with it. So I took a look at it. Off the bat, I know the show was going to focus primarily on the Skylanders themselves, which is always a plus in my book. Aside from what Imagineers has going on, this is something I felt that was long overdue. We of course got the most iconic ones on the play here. Spyro, Stealth Elf, Eruptor, jet-vac, Pop Fizz, to name the main cast as it is now. And this allowed many great opportunities to flesh out their characters and give them a good sense of development. Like Spyro here. He starts off like a massive big shot. You know the type. Snarky, egotistical, so full of himself, cocky, lazy. I'd be concerned, but he did have moments like this starting off from the beginning. You know, if you play the past Spyro games and such. And as this series went on, he took a massive step in development, becoming more and more serious by the finale. Oh, and his voice actor isn't that bad. Could have done a better job, but I feel he delivered pretty nicely and worked with what he could. Speaking of which, there were plenty of new voices performing some of the Skylanders. To name some, Eruptor doesn't sound as deep as he did in the original games, and expect to hear some traces of Candace Flynn in Stealth Elf. Same girl behind her here. Some are notably different than others, but how distracting they are depends on your viewpoint. To its credit, there are some voices who stuck with the cast, like Bobcat Goldthwait is still Pop Fizz, and even the iconic voice of Chaos stuck around, so it's not like everyone gets a new set of vocal cords. As I went through this season, watching all the episodes chronologically felt like, for the most part, it was telling a major story, and we were watching each chapter unfold from beginning to end. And by the finale, I was blown away with how things unfold, the surprise twist they pulled. I'm not going to spoil much for the story, but all you need to know is that the writing really holds up. It's humorous, suspenseful, clever with the jokes it used, and in terms of progression, mostly everything lands. Every now and then, there's simple lessons and morals, like how doing everything by the book is not always the best solution, or having Eruptor deal with his anger issues as he's easily liable to blow his top off. Then there's episodes that give rather interesting ideas, like having a Skylander inside Chaos's mind, or having certain connections between the Skylanders and the Doom Raiders, like Pop Fizz and Wolfgang once being band buddies, or having one of the Doom Raiders, in one episode's case, Dreamcatcher, be a former cadet of the Academy. We even get a full episode revolving around Crash Bandicoot. Let me rephrase that. Crash Bandicoot makes a full appearance in Skylanders Academy, going as far as getting an actual speaking role. Going in, I was pleasantly surprised. It's a pretty fun episode, with Crash having been sent to Skylands and they have to obtain a dark relic to fuel the magic needed to send him back home. They make plenty of good callbacks to his original games, and the best part of it was the interaction between Spyro and Crash. Spyro really helps make this one shine, as he always gawking at Crash, admiring and looking up to him. By the end, I was applauding their farewell. You have to see it for yourselves, folks. As for Crash's voice, it is a little distracting, I'll admit, and it'll take some getting used to. Then again, it could be worse. Honestly, of all these, my favorite has to be number 3, Missing Links. The Skylanders are struggling to work together as a team, so they seek the help of the sensei, Kingpin. He gives them a creation crystal and advises they create their own Skylander, of which they could do unique things with. I love this one in particular because it's a great example of a game-to-TV series done perfectly. It makes great references and callbacks to the actual games. In this episode's case, it's a love letter to Imagineers in plenty of ways. And we also get to hear the Skylanders shout their catchphrases. So to anyone having doubts about Academy living up to the games, this here should put your worries to rest. On top of that, there are episodes where we see the vehicles from Superchargers, and the beginning episode makes special mentions of the Giants and Swap Force. And if we really want to go a bit further, this brings me to another point. I really love how this series sought the opportunity to give some light to other Skylanders. To name some, we get Snapshot, Kaboom, Flash Ring, Trigger Happy, Food Fight, Chill, or more notably, Wind Up, Roller Brawl, and Hex. The only thing I wish is that we'd have seen more characters included, or to give those we saw as background characters some more time to shine, but regarding its first season, it worked well with what it had. I'm not going to count Bad Breath for the reason that he's here because he's this show's joke character, the joke being that he's gassy. Moving on. I was pleasantly surprised to see these particular Skylanders taking part of the series, and when it delivered, it surely delivered, especially with the likes of Hex or Roller Brawl. Now here. Hex in this series is more light-hearted, cheerful, and outgoing compared to her in-game counterpart. She even has a familiar around with her, who I thought at first would do all the talking for her, but I was pleased to hear she still has some dialogue to deliver. She even makes mention of how she has an uncontrollable urge to turn people into undead servants, which thankfully she seems to be taking care of. I know I'm going off topic here, but I can't stress this enough. I freaking love Hex. back on point, they did an excellent job adding more characters into the mix, and I'm hoping to see more come into play when the second season hits. Another plus is their development and handling of other notable characters, particularly Master Eon. He's really been given some of the best treatment in this series, whether it's fleshing out his character or showing he's indeed capable of standing his ground when he needs to. We even get to see Hugo in this series, which is always a plus. For Season 2, I'd like to see how they include other friendly NPCs like Flynn, Callie, or Tessa. Not sure if they can squeeze everyone in at once, but it'd be worth a shot. Alternatively, if there's anything I can thank this series for, it's bringing back Chaos's mom, or Cassandra as she's called. If there's anything I remember off Swap Force, it's this woman right here. I was beginning to wonder when we'd see her again, considering her defeat was being sent in a mirror. This series managed to surprise me with bringing her back, and I love her character here. Not much has changed with her, but by the finale, things get really interesting with this gal. Oh, and did I mention she's besties with Golden Queen? That was fun to learn. Oh, what's that? Oh, right, the Doom Raiders. They are back in their former glory, starting with Golden Queen here. She really gives a fascinating performance, and her voice in this series is spot on. I can imagine her being major fan service to special fans of her. She of course leads the Doom Raiders, consisting of Chef Pepperjack, Dreamcatcher, Chompy Mage, Wolfgang, and Broccoli Guy, who serves as the joke character for this particular bunch. Some negatives I want to give out right now, particularly with the Doom Raiders. One thing I've noticed is that something was missing from this crowd. Can you guess who? Oh right, Dr. Crankcase. Strangely enough, he makes no appearance of any sort in this series. Honestly, I feel that was a missed opportunity, considering how big of a role he's played in Trap Team. If they manage to bring him around next season, that'd be great. Another thing that bugs me. Since the Doom Raiders came along, this led to a subplot where Chaos is trying his damnedest to win the Golden Queen over, because apparently he has a major crush on her. It'd be funny if this was a one-off joke or something, but it's one of those things that gets really weird really quickly. We even get a full-on episode where this becomes a major plot point, and to be honest, it's one that really baffles me. So Chaos wants hair because according to this episode, hair equals the heart of the Golden Queen. He steals Eon's beard and suddenly gets noticed. His mother is much nicer to him, and of course he gets the affection of Golden Queen. For now. While watching this episode, another thing really annoyed me, particularly what happens on the other end of the spectrum. Anyone remember the square pants or not the square pants? SpongeBob gets himself a pair of round pants and everyone treats him like he's an entirely different person. Yeah, they pull that exact same shit here. Without Eon's beard, which I forgot to mention was magical and all-powerful by the way, everyone at the Academy, including the Skylanders themselves, completely ignore him. They act as though he isn't there, or if they do notice him, they treat him like they've never met him before. Honestly, this was a very stupid episode, and the only dud in what is an otherwise solid season. In closing, Skylanders Academy is an overall different experience than I was expecting. In essence, it wanted to create its own identity, and in several ways it felt like it. But it's never too distracting or too different from what we've known from Skylanders. And I feel like this is a series that anyone can get behind, whether you're a fan of the games or not. This was a thrilling ride from beginning to end, and despite some moments of stupid, it really holds up and delivered a good experience that I can find myself coming back to, time and again. When is Season 2 again? Next fall? Oh boy, this is gonna be a while.